Have you ever dreamt of being famous? Basking in the heat of the spotlight and getting showered with cheers? I know I have. Seriously, there's no better feeling than putting up a good show. Gosh, KTsu, you're such an attention whore, aren't you? This kind of theme in media always attracts me. Even though, ironically, I had never watched Love Live. I'm sorry, guys, I can't with that one. But Oshi no Ko, an idol manga written by Akasaka Sensei of Kaguya fame? I mean, the guy revived what I thought was long dead. My love for slice of life / romance anime. And if he was able to do that, there's no doubt he could kill it with an idol story. And boy, was that right. The prologue really was something, wasn't it? Seriously, it should have been its own thing in theaters. I'd have paid good money for it. And listen, before I start talking about what I felt was the main theme of the show, let me try to sell you on it a little bit. There's this veil of mysticism, if I can even call it that, over the idol industry. And I'm not just talking about Japan. In regards to what these people have to be, how they should act at all times, what they can and can't do, and etc. I don't know if I like this term, but it's full of taboos that somehow just exist. And I can't recall a story where I said the phrase, wow, they really went there, as many times as during this prologue, at least in the last few years. And even if you don't know absolutely jack about the Japanese idol industry, I'm fairly certain you can guess what the biggest taboo of that industry for a girl would be, right? Well, you don't have to guess for long, because Oshi no Ko unapologetically brought that to light in the first 5 minutes of narrative. A girl portrayed as the brightest idol in the industry, or at least in her girl group, with natural charisma and an unparalleled face. But also an underage girl who probably was a severe victim of grooming and predatory intentions from monsters in every sense of the word who are in higher up positions in the industry. The dilemma she faces is what opens the story out with the intensity of a wrecking ball. The deep contrast this scene in the hospital created is one hell of a statement. Again, fabricated as the perfect girl, an actual idol everyone wanted to praise and adore, shows up in the next scene breaking the biggest taboo of them all: having kids. This immediately tells you this is what this story is. It's about the idols, not the fabrication you see on TV, but the actual person with faults, with wants, with sins, with virtues, just like you and me. About how hard they try, about how much they sacrifice, and about how unforgiving their work environment is. But more than anything, about how much they have to lie. And to me personally, it felt like a scream, calling out attention and awareness to this industry's reality. But don't get me wrong, I love the entertainment industry, and I've rooted and supported artists I've loved ever since, well, I came to know them, just like many of you out there. But at the end of the day, I'm just a consumer. I'm not part of it. I try to entertain people through YouTube and social media, but that's nothing really when compared to a multi-million-dollar idol industry. But at the very least, I'd like to know the bullshit that goes on with the people that I admire so much, so that I can at least try to make a difference where I can, even though I'm not sure I'd ever make one. And yeah, this is the main reason why I think anyone should watch Oshi no Ko, even if you've never had interest in these kinds of things. I think it's something that everyone should be made aware of. Anywho, from here on, be spoilers. Goes without saying, this is High Dive's biggest launch yet, and for good reason, so go watch it if you haven't. I'll say it now and I'll say it many times still. I love symbolism in stories, especially when it gets deeper and deeper with every episode until the end, and it feels like you have pages and pages of content all intrinsically intertwined through sheer symbolism. And in this story, the keywords are love and lie. You'll notice that pretty quick. I can safely tell you I've never seen someone put those two things together so naturally like this. First, let's talk about lying. The central pillar on which the idol industry thrives, or so the story tells us. And it really is. It's a fabricated show, from the lowliest staff member to the artists to the managers and producers. Really, anyone will lie as much as they have to so you can experience something amazing and tailored to what you expect, or sometimes more than you expected. Like in an anime or a video game, it's really rare for you to go into any of those without some kind of expectation, or at least an idea of what kind of experience you want to have. The thing is that in those mediums, they can be worked around according to the majority of the audience they're supposed to cater to without too many problems regarding their human resources. Except maybe insane crunch, but that's a discussion for another time. But in show business, here's the problem. Let's talk about the idols. Their general public is who's gonna create the expectation, and these expectations now need to be met so that the entertained are satisfied. Now, I don't know if these ideas were initially pushed onto the public through production agencies or the public itself just decided, but somewhere along the line, idols became these perfect people that had to have unconditional love for everyone and live what the public felt was morally correct for every choice they made. But you will never please everyone, and on top of that, no one is perfect. No one will make the right choice 100% of the time, especially when you're dealing with really young people you want to tirelessly work with little to no rest. The conundrum here is that the idol is expected to abstain from normal human desires that don't mess with or hurt anyone, and that everyone else is privy to just because. So you're taught that an idol has to be perfect, or you think that. But if no one is perfect, and the audience is demanding that they have to be, guess what? You lie. They are perfect, they do love you, they never do anything you think is wrong as long as they draw breath. It's really dark and sad to think about it, but just like our narrator says, the idol fan really wants to be lied to, even if unconsciously. And he wants the lie to be good enough so that he actually believes it, even though you can't really believe that, because perfect people don't exist. I know that, you know that, idol fans know that, deep inside they do. And here, representing our little Miss Perfect, is I. Her whole arc was an amazing way to portray the message, which was to bring about the reality in the industry while at the same time showing that there are idols that genuinely work their asses off for no other reason than providing a good show and loving what they do. Or at least eventually finding meaning in their lives, just like her goal was. Even if they have to completely become someone else to do that while on stage. Her character really is something else, down from the design aspect to, well, her actual character. I mean, she has stars in her eyes, that ought to get your attention. Even though the story is played out mostly through the twins' perspective, and they're clearly the protagonists of the story, you can't help but feel that I is the main character, through and through. So let's link the first word, lie, with the second one, love, through her character arc, and here's where the symbolism comes in play. At her core, I has only one goal, which is to understand and feel genuine love. That coming from a backstory where she was abandoned at an early age, lost her faith in other people, and never really loved anyone, or felt like she was loved. She felt like she couldn't be an idol because idols are supposed to love everyone. That's when manager boy tells her it's okay. Lies are what make the industry. The dude was smart enough to know what she wanted and linked it to her goal. Listen, just keep lying until eventually it will become the truth. That gave her the hope she needed, a hope that she never gave up. She built her whole character with lies. Those are her words. So much that she deeply associated one with another. If lying enough would cause her love to become true, then lies really were love to her, and vice versa. Everything she does, all that she is, even her name for Pete's sake. There's no bigger symbolism for an anime character than its name in my book. I means love. The name is what represents who she is to us as readers or watchers at face value. But if lies equal love, then even the name by which every person refers to her as is supposed to be a lie. She is a lie. I don't know what's real anymore, guys. Let me theorize with you guys a little bit so I can simp for I a little bit more. You see, I'm a firm believer that there are multiple ways of loving someone or something. And with I, really, since she was well established as someone who really knew nothing about love, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that she never even felt there was a real difference between the kind of love an idol would have for her fans, the love a person has for a significant other, and the love between parents and child. Even though she does know there's a difference in the happiness felt in those three aforementioned affections, I'm pretty sure she had no idea on how genuine love in those instances was demonstrated or if the feelings really were different or not. In my opinion, I had to intrinsically link lies to love to the point that in her head it became the same thing. But I really think that at some point she had already experienced love. At least love for her career and even love for her fans. But love was so mixed with the act of lying in her head that she just didn't get it. My point is that she worked her ass off. All the late night practices and rehearsals, the incessant vocal and dance classes, the huge hurdle of having twins at such a young age. How do you push through that without at least loving what you do? More than that, there's a realization she has right in the beginning of just how much money is important in life. But at the same time, we're told almost immediately later that at that stage in her life and her career, she really didn't make shit for a living. All the blood, sweat, and tears for little to no money, or even worse, possible debts after life events? Seems stupid, but this shit happens in real life. I've seen it in K-pop. Even though she fought tooth and nail for her dream of feeling genuine love, I do think deep inside she loved putting up a show. And I do think she loved her fans, but maybe it just wasn't strong enough to get through her psyche. Maybe she just needed a love that's arguably more intense than that to actually convince herself and banish any shadow of doubt that she can love something. Because a 20-year-old brain that suffered with that psychological block for this long would really need a potent emotion to get it. Because maybe at this point, she could have been thinking about giving up. It's demonstrated by how afraid she is to tell her children she loves them and it not be genuine. But she had never given in yet. Ever since becoming an idol, she attacked her goal from every possible front she could. That was the way she found to be able to deal with her early pregnancy. Because no matter how you look at it, she was the victim in this. But she saw hope even in that. I will have the kids because they deserve love. Love that I didn't get, and maybe, just maybe, that's the one way it'll work. Maybe they will be the people I actually end up loving. Damn, girl. It's sad to think that probably love was always by her side right there, and she even felt it, but couldn't understand it. I guess we'll never know if that really happened and if in the end she ever found that out. But her arc had one hell of an ending, perfectly tied up. To her, family was the answer she needed. The lie became truth and did become love. Ooh, I get the shivers. Ironic, isn't it? How idols are meant to spread love but are expected to abstain from two of the most primal ways humanity has found to demonstrate it, through a relationship and through family. Which brings us the question, why? Why can't they? Level with me. Who in their adult mind would think that perfect people actually exist? Who really believes that? Like, I totally understand every other 14-year-old girl who has a crush on Jimmy getting really sad if he ever marries someone like, oh, it's not gonna be me now. But a full-grown adult thinking that? What kind of dark psychology is going on? Like, how disappointed in humanity do you have to be, or how much in denial are you sunk in as a full-grown adult for you to need some idol agency to tell you that not all is lost? See, Idol-chan here, she is perfect. She's the perfect girl and will always love her fans. Why is it so hard to accept that idols are human beings who want to have happiness as much as anyone else? They're gonna become adults like you, they're gonna have wants and needs just like you. That fanaticism is something really scary, or even worse, the propaganda that idols have to be that. To me, that's the real villain of the story. But that's the reality. Dude, I've never been into J-pop idols, but I do love Hiranoaya, you guys know that. But it's been ingrained in my mind this day when some news about her love life came to surface. And then people went burning her CDs and tearing her posters and shit. Like, what the fuck? Did you unironically think that adult idols just never did that? It's when Ruby loses it when she sees what people are saying about her mother after the deed is publicly announced. She might seem childish to you, but I'm not afraid to tell you I resonated so much with her in that scene. She said everything I was thinking and more. And what kind of upbringing or social pressure brings a person to become like this guy did? What the hell happened to him? I'm well aware the cause of this problem has to be way deeper than I imagine, but like I said before, there at least needs to be awareness about this shit. Alright, enough of the rant. I'm sorry. I still really like how the act of lying was presented in this story. Seriously, it almost made me feel like it was just completely justified. They really have a simple way of showing you that it was her only choice available. It made me realize what the hell I did in my past and how I just adopted the same exact philosophy during a certain time in my life. I want to tell you guys a little bit about it just so you can see where I'm coming from and why Oshi no Ko hit me so hard. As I said before, I was never much into J-pop idol groups, like ever, but I was insanely into K-pop. Mostly second and third generations. I still like it today, but just a hype girl group stuff. I was very involved with the scene here in Brazil. I was a member of prominent cover groups through the years, toured the whole country, showcased even in other South American countries, and won tons of shit. Sometime I might tell you all about it, but for now, I just want to tell you that the scene was huge in Brazil. There were so many cover groups from all over the country participating in every event in São Paulo you could imagine. A huge fandom meant a huge audience, and I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but the cover group showcases and competitions here were the closest thing the fans could get to their idols. Well, aside from the once-in-a-lifetime actual K-pop concerts we had at the time, where 20% of the actual audience could attend since they were so goddamn expensive. But what an era that was for me. The energy we'd get from the crowd was always so amazing, showcases were so gratifying that I can proudly and happily say that every cover group that I competed or shared a stage with had the same vision we had of bringing the fans the best K-pop show we could muster. But I can't tell you in good conscience that all the cover groups loved each other and were really good friends. It's simply not true. Quick example. I like to take huge dumps before showtime. Helped a lot with the nerves. Trust me, you should try it if you have gigs. And while taking said dump in a backstage bathroom one time, comes in people from another group. They don't know I'm in the stall and prominently start talking mad shit about me and my group. First of all, I was used to it. And second of all, surprise, surprise, we didn't like them either and talked shit on them too, so really, tit for tat. I'm not proud of it at all, but it was the way that 19 and 20-year-olds found to cope with nervousness, and frankly, it was a plague in the scene. But whenever us and said group would meet, it was all smiles and handshakes. Good luck today! You guys were terrific. On the stage in front of hundreds of fans waiting for the winner announcement, we'd all join hands and say we wish that made the best group win. We fabricated a story to the fans that we all loved and respected each other and that the K-pop scene was the best place to be. Look how we're united, look at how much we work together, look at how we're not sad even though competitions have only one winner. To me, it was like us and every other group had this unspoken pact that we never wanted to drag the audience into this. Sure, it would have been better if we could have just settled our differences like adults and respected each other, but since the animosity was there, it was a solution, I guess. So that the one person that mattered, the fan that was there just to see a good show, could love every cover on the stage as much as he wanted to. The bigger point here is that it's just a cover thing. Even though lots of us had our 15 minutes of fame with our idols and such, it is absolutely nothing when compared to an actual entertainment industry where money is being put in. I mean, if we ever fucked up, the worst that could happen is just a cover group ending. But if an established idol does anything out of the norm, it's a scandal. Suddenly there are tons of corporate assholes out for their blood because to them, they're just a fucking commodity. But like I said before, don't get me wrong, I love artists and idols. I respect them very much for the same reasons they portray in the anime. I want this industry to shine for as long as possible, but it does have a very ugly side to it with fundamental problems that need to be fixed, or else these people will never have normal fucking lives. And experiencing a heartfelt story that's not afraid to tell people, listen, your idols are normal human beings like you and me. They want to have relationships with someone they like. They want to have sex with someone they like. They might even want a goddamn family. That it's okay to love and support an idol you want to succeed, just like how Goro when he chooses to deliver the kids so that she can ultimately experience happiness. That the issue lies in the fanatical side of a fanbase that has some twisted fantasy about how non-human idols need to be. That's why the ending is so intense. It's a powerful statement on top of a very well developed plot point. When you bring a character like Ai to the story, she's just going to outshine the main characters indefinitely. I call that the Kamina effect. So you do have to take them out of it eventually. The trick is how to do it. Oshi no Ko nailed it. Not only does it culminate in bringing you the main message that is supposed to be relayed, but it also ends Ai's story with her ultimate goal being finally achieved. When you see it, you just can't help but go, yeah, this feels right. This is what she was looking for. And on top of all that, it serves as the motivation, the main driving point behind the protagonist's goals, and what is going to carry the story from here on out, since the story is ultimately about them, isn't it? And of course they had to do it at the exact point where her career really took off and she became a top figure in Japan, just for the added trauma bonus. But I do like the kids as the POV, you could say, since they're used to give us the info we need about the entertainment industry at a good pace, since it's taught to them how idols start, how the industry is, the difficulties and the harsh competition we mentioned before, and that they graduate eventually, giving us this huge sense of urgency that an idol has to make it big before that happens, or else she'll just end up with a bleak future. I'd never really understood this graduation thing in Japanese idols. Like, why can't they just continue to be artists and make songs with their group? We just got a freaking single from Girls' Generation this year in K-pop, and they're doing great. I guess the problem here is that they're mass-produced, which sounds like a problem in and of itself. Gosh, just don't do that. I don't know how Akasaka Sensei did his research, but damn is it entertaining to learn about it. And also, to me, a really believable reality. You go from a reincarnating story to a down-to-earth criticism of the idol industry that to me seemed almost like a documentary, and what a way to get your attention. This story is a work of fiction. That said, almost everything in this world is fiction. They fabricate, exaggerate, and thoroughly conceal anything inconvenient. That being the case, the idol fan is one that wants to be skillfully lied to. Because yeah, after everything we've talked about here, that is really the logical conclusion. Then from a story that seemed like a documentary, it goes into full-out drama, so we can finally lay out the motivations for our main characters to keep the story going. But the absolute last thing I thought this was going to be was a revenge story. Thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of the video. I really appreciate your watching time, and if you liked it, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel so I can keep making videos like this. And for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys one more thing. Go and give a like or subscribe or support your favorite idol or artist right now. I'm retweeting scandal stuff right now. I am losing my mind that they're actually gonna come to Brazil. We do what we can. Let's enjoy the rest of the story Oshi no Ko has to offer us in this anime season, and I'll see you guys back here for the full anime video. Ktsu out.